I have an announcement to make, everybody. May 14, 2024, Norton, W.W. Norton and Company, the venerable publication house, will publish my memoir, Late Admissions, Confessions of a Black Conservative.
Good
May
title.
14, 2024. You think so?
Yeah, I really do. It's clever. Can I ask you something, Glenn?
Yes, you certainly can. I was hoping that you would.
Why did you write the memoir? Why do you wish to share your view of your life story beyond your friends and family? And of course, many people do, but it mystifies me because I'm strange. I will write no such book, I'm pretty sure. What's the purpose? That's a genuine question.
Well, it's not a question that can be adequately answered off the cuff. I will react to your question. I'm not sure I will answer it. First thing I want to say is this has been brewing for a long time
Mm-hmm.
for me. Almost as long as you and I have been talking, and we've been talking since 2008. So that's 15 years. But as a concrete project, it winked in and out of my, kind of not as entirely well organized work plan. What am I doing with my time? What are my professional objectives? I've got graduate students, I've got research projects, I've got my public intellectual life and whatnot. And this kind of loomed as a project in my mind, even in the early teens, even in the aughts. Maybe you could do this. Now, why did it loom as a project? I think I have something to say, and I think I have something to explain. So I'm a public figure in virtue of being prominent, being heterodox, being outspoken. And I have a track record. Whether I'm talking about it or not, people are talking about it. People are aware of it. I was a Reagan conservative. What was that about? I was a drug addict, hospitalized in a mental institution. What was that about? I was accused of assault with a deadly weapon by a woman with whom I was having an extramarital affair, and it became front page news throughout the country because I was nominated for the undersecretary in the Department of Education position, the number 2 position in the second Reagan administration. And it was while that nomination was pending that this fiasco, this disaster in my life, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on obviously in this vein for a long time. You asked me a pointed question, why did I write the book? I'm saying I had something to explain and I had something to say.
I think part of it then is that you have genuinely led a more interesting life than I have. You have things that people would want to read. I get that.
Well, okay, you're using yourself as a point of comparison, and I guess you don't have any alternative to doing that. You would never write such a book. You say, here I have so written. Okay, I'm not going to argue with you. If you think my life was more interesting than yours, okay, so be it.
Which was.
But that gives me grist. It doesn't necessarily explain why I want to share it with others. And doesn't explain what it means to me. And I've kind of gestured at why I want to explain it to others, because I think I need somehow to contextualize my biographic profile from my point of view, to humanize it and to invite a more sympathetic view of those who will be taking my measure. Maybe that's hopelessly narcissistic of me to be thinking in those terms, and I'm saying
I'm not hinting at that. No.
Oh, okay. But
no, it's genuinely also just what's in you that made you want to write about those things. Yeah, because it really is not. It would not be a natural impulse on my part, and it fascinates me. It's a different way of being and thinking, and so I'm just trying to probe into it.
Thinking about honesty of the problem of self-regard, what I call the problem of self-regard in the book, the idea that you take a measure of your own life, and have you been honest with yourself about what's happening? to you? And can you, even in retrospect, uh, be honest with yourself about it? Uh, so anyway, I don't want to go into too much of a meta kind of philosophical reflection on self narrating, which is what I'm doing. I'm sure there are library shelves full of books where people try to understand autobiography from that angle of vision. I have 5 children and 6 grandchildren.
Hmm.
You know, uh, I had a 3 decades long marriage to my late wife, Linda Loury, my soulmate and partner, the mother of my children, Glenn and Nehemiah, who passed away from breast cancer in 2011. There's her memory.
Okay. Right.
Anyway, I mean, I want people to know before we go on, you can pre-order the book. It is permissible to pre-order the book. You can go to your bookseller, your online provider. There'll be some links in this post. I'm not going to single out any particular provider because that would be wrong. But you can pre-order the book. Now, why should you pre-order the book? First of all, you do want to read this book. Thanks for allowing me to do this commercial, John, but I'll just be brief. You do want to read this book, okay? You've been following the Glenn Show. You want to read this book. Secondly, I'm told by people who know better than I do that pre-orders get counted in the first week of sales. And that's a big boon toward, well, being on bestseller lists and things of this kind, which would be good for the book and good for your humble servant. So pre-order the book.
Folks, I should say that despite any air of skepticism that my question may have attracted, I, of course, have read the book. And it is a potato chip book. You will not be able to put it down. And here I seem like I'm minimizing it again, and that is not my intention. But Glenn has written truly a gripping memoir. And I say that as someone for whom, frankly, memoir is my least favorite genre. Sorry, Glenn, but it's just, I don't understand. But this, I really could not put down. And not just because it was Glenn, but because it's Glenn. If you are somebody who watches this show, you might get through it in one reading, and it's not short. So I highly recommend it. There's a genuine ad.